By now we all know how weird, freaky, and mysterious the sea is. We just don't know what's going on down there most of the time, and that makes all the strange, creepy sounds that sometimes get captured down there all the more eerie. From the strange sounds of a lot of whales and other marine creatures, to more iceberg sounds, to some that are totally unexplained. Starting off this list, in our number 10 spot we have the train. The train is a sound that was first recorded on March 5th, 1997. It is often referred to as the train because, well, it kind of sounds like a train's whistle, or maybe like the sound of the wheels grinding against the tracks. But in my opinion, it just sounds like a ghost meetup. Despite the years it's been since this sound was captured, no one is entirely sure where it came from. The current belief is that it may have been from an extremely large iceberg in the Ross Sea near Cape Adare, but that is still only a guess. The steady hum might be the sound of the keel of an iceberg dragging across the sea floor. But what if it's not? In our number 9 spot today we have this underwater knocking. This knocking sound was picked up by an underwater hydrophone, and for a while it had people stumped until they were able to find the culprit. Before we talk about what this sound is coming from, imagine being in the deep, dark, icy waters and hearing that sound. It is straight up out of a horror movie, but as it turns out, the real source isn't quite as scary. This is actually the sound of a species of haddock fish. These types of haddock are a ray-finned fish that can be found in the North Atlantic Ocean. The males of the species will produce this drumming or pulsating sound in order to attract mates during the mating season. Outside of the mating season, a similar sound is also produced, and that is known to be used during aggressive encounters with other male fish. In our number 8 spot today we have the 52 Hz whale. This whale has been nicknamed the loneliest whale in the world, but the truth is, we don't even really know if that's true because we've never actually seen it. This whale, which we don't know if it's male or female or what whale species it belongs to, sings its song like no other whale does. This whale was first heard in 1989 on a hydrophone, and while the calls were most similar to that of a blue whale, there was one striking difference, and that was the frequency of the calls. This whale calls at 52 Hz, with regular blue whales calling between 10 and 40 Hz. Even fin whales are usually heard at 20 Hz, so it left everyone stumped as to what could be going on here. A researcher named Bill Watkins dedicated his life to trying to reveal what exactly was going on here, and while he passed away in 2004, he found that this whale was not only unusual, but totally unique. The biggest challenge is the fact that we cannot locate this whale. Their calls can be heard for hundreds of miles, and trying to find one single whale in the vastness of the ocean is next to impossible. Many people have suggested that perhaps the whale is deaf, and this is what has led to its unique song, but of course without the whale, how would we possibly know for sure? In our number 7 spot today we have Slow Down. Slow Down is another sound that was captured in 1997, but this one was captured on May 19th of that year. The 90s was apparently the height of the capturing weird, unexplained ocean sounds wave because wow, there are so many. This sound got its name because of the fact that the sound descends in frequency over about 7 minutes. Again, this is another sound I would have just assumed was ghosts, but luckily there are people out there who know more than me who continue to research these things and try to get to the bottom of these mysteries. This sound was so loud it was detected by different sensors nearly 5,000 kilometers apart from each other. Scientists were able to locate the sound as coming from somewhere off the Antarctic Peninsula. While they couldn't directly find the source of the sound, they used their deductive reasoning, and it is currently believed that the sound might have been the result of a drifting iceberg as it scratched the seafloor until it slowly came to a stop. I guess the icebergs were just moving around a lot in the mid to late 90s. In our number 6 spot today we have the Sigh whale. Here we are again with another whale sound that just truly doesn't seem like it should be the sound coming out of any living creature, but hey, in the sea the rules are just different and everything's a little weirder. These whales can be found in subtropical, temperate, and subpolar waters around the world. They're sadly a species that has seen their numbers decrease rapidly, especially due to the historical commercial whaling that took place in the 19th and 20th centuries. The exact number of these whales that currently exist is unknown, but they are a species that is currently listed as being threatened. Like many other whales, these guys use their voice to communicate with one another, and that is where this sound comes from. Other than the sound that they're making, the increase in noise under the water, especially man-made noise, is actually a threat to their existence. The sound can interrupt their normal behavior and drive them away from areas that are important to their survival, and sometimes intense exposure to noise can even cause one of these whales to strand and die, which truly is just awful.
Number 5. Mystery boom. Boom boom boom? Question mark? This one here was pretty recent. Early 2021 in San Diego, residents reacted to what sounded like a sonic boom. Windows were moving, doors were rattling. A lot of San Diego heard and actually felt this thing. But what was it? Many don't know. Nobody knows. At this point, many believe it was an earthquake. You know, being in San Diego and all, that wouldn't exactly be shocking. But this hits the point home even further. These residents here are used to earthquakes. This was entirely new. This was something they've never felt before. And obviously, it was concerning. No earthquakes were reported at the time, and the Marines didn't speak up about anything. And if it was a sonic boom from a plane, well, they would have to tell you. And also, they're not allowed to do it that close to the coast. You can't sonic boom a family of 4 trying to have a beach day because you want to do some tests. That's not gonna happen. So what was it? Our best guess is that this boom came from, you guessed it, the ocean, which is way more concerning than a thunderstorm or a jet. What's down there? What's rattling? Earthquakes? Kraken? I think it's the Kraken. Number 4, the whistle. Who would have thought that a whistle would be terrifying? Me. Anything in the ocean's terrifying. That's why I thought so. Picked up by hydrophones, of course, as most of these insane things are commonly found in the depths of the deepest, darkest seas, was a whistle. Yeah, we actually don't know where this one even came from. See, others on this list, we have some ideas. Certain radar points that we can look around in, maybe pinpoint some sort of idea, like that weird duck thing that was below. We had an idea. The whistle, though, well, that's a total mystery as far as location goes. Back in 1997, this was picked up and it came from, again, somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. Isn't that comforting? Just somewhere out there, anywhere. And this noise is a little similar to volcanic noises recorded in the Mariana volcanic arc, so that's our best guess, but still, no idea. This whistle got the attention of every single hydrophone, which is pretty impressive. There has to be one loud whistle. Can you whistle? It's always so impressive to me when someone can whistle. I can't hail a cab in New York at all. I'm like, it's gone. I missed it. Number 3, Julia. Another normal name, another creepy underwater backstory. Here we go. Julia. Let's talk about her. What did she do? Who is she? Back in March 1999, this noise here was recorded, again, by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA for short. Now this time, the noise was heard across the entire Pacific Ocean and the entire hydrophone array. So across all that distance, this sound was carried, another loud one. So whatever made this noise has to have some pretty powerful horsepower behind it. Now this noise is pretty long, again, and we can't include the entire clip, but some people out here really think that this is the Kraken or some sort of elder god, like Cthulhu or something. The point of origin is determined to be somewhere around Bransfield Straits and Cape Adair, which sounds both like locations from the Elden Ring, so I don't know what's going on over there at Cape Adair, but it's pretty frightening. This Cape Adair gets a lot of action, and we think it's because of icebergs, but again, there's no hard evidence here. Everything's slipping and sliding around. But what do you guys think? Is the Kraken's real name Julia? I vote yes. And finally, number 1, crop circles. We'll finish off with a cute one, I guess. Why not, right? Although I'm arguing that this one is still pretty terrifying. Crop circles on the ocean floor. Aliens confirmed, my friends. They were first spotted back in 1995, right off the southern coast of Japan, and for 16 years, these things were blowing the minds of divers. And I absolutely can see this. Like, nobody knew where these signals were coming from. There would be one a week, just these weird symbols, these alien symbols, hieroglyphics underwater, then the next week, they would be gone. Tiny aliens or cute tiny pufferfish? That's right, the latter. In 2011, one of these dudes got caught in 4K, and it's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. These male pufferfish, they try and lure in all these ladies by making art on the ocean floor. You know, some birds dance like crazy, while some fish make art. Yeah, those are animals that we live with. Deal with it, I guess. The thing that baffles me here, concerns me really, if anything, is that the pufferfish uses a shell. Like, he uses a tool to carve away his emotions. That's crazy. I don't know if fish could do this. I'm really blown away here. I'm not sure what this symbol means here, but it's signaling something. It's signaling maybe love? I don't know. We could all use some of that, no? Number 10, Waterworld. Now, if you've seen Avatar 2, this first one on today's list will get you pretty pumped. Could this be Jake Sully himself? Can we help him? What do we do? Can I be a big blue guy? Be a dream come true. Scientists have recently discovered a planet completely covered by ocean water. It's just one big blue ball floating in the sky. Now it sounds exciting and haunting all at the same time. I'm not a big fan of ocean, so this is just bad. Or space. I don't like either. This is a mix of both. It was first spotted by NASA's space telescope TESS, which is the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, TESS, which, as its name hint towards, surveys the entire sky to find, hopefully, exoplanets around nearby bright stars. Some interstellar stuff going on there. Why do we need to know, right? Are we moving? Lo and behold, orbiting a star 100 light years from Earth lies a water planet in a habitable zone of space, where its temperature would be just right for liquid water to exist on the surface, and apparently might be a tropical paradise. I don't know, looks kind of fun. Astronomers have called TOI 1452b, that's the name of the planet, the best ocean planet candidate discovered so far. I don't know, should we move? I'm not a big fan of water. This sounds like the worst place for me. TESS observes a slight decrease in brightness of a star in a binary star system every 11 days, and then after more than 50 hours of observation, they estimated the planet's mass at nearly 5 times that of Earth. So yeah, it's massive. There's plenty of room for all of us to drown. Number 8, sirens, aka mermaids. Can they sing? Can they call out to sailors and make them do crazy stuff? Who knows? The mythology surrounding sirens, it's interesting, but I really don't think we have any Atlanteans flirting with sailors, you know what I mean? No one's getting catcalled by a mermaid, you know what I mean? It's not happening. On his first trip overseas back in 1493, Christopher Columbus claims to have seen not 1, not 2, but 3 sirens. He even wrote about it, he journaled. He said they rose well out of the sea, but they are not so beautiful as they are said to be. And he signed off. A little rhyme. What is that, Dr. Seuss? How disappointing. They're not that beautiful after all. Damn. I mean, when it comes to correctly identifying places and or people, obviously Christopher Columbus can get a little confused. We know this in history now. So historians believe that Christopher Columbus may have seen a manatee. Yeah, this guy's journaling about falling in love with not 1, not 2, but 3 manatees. He's like, I wish. If only they loved me back. What an idiot. Yeah, Chris, those were manatees. Their skin is pink and fleshy, so I guess it's a fair mix-up. But, you know. Historically, sirens have been known to call out sailors, but, I mean, I don't think this wasn't that case. Number 7, quacker. Now, when I first read about this one, I thought it said quaker the entire time, like the ground was perhaps splitting open, like an earthquake. That would fit in with this list, right? No, Mother Nature sending loud signals from below. Apparently, I was reading it wrong. The quacker was heard during the Cold War. It was heard while Soviet Navy ballistic missile submarines were all heading through the North Atlantic and Arctic waters. Now, at some point, they heard quacking. Yeah, quacking, like a duck almost, some sort of deep ribbit. Now, whenever a submarine passed this specific area, this loud quack would come from deep below. It came from an object that was moving around, so that's the concerning part here. Was this a big duck? I don't think so. But what was it? That's the whole thing, right? I certainly hope it wasn't a big duck. The Soviets thought that they overheard secret US tech. You know, the deep sea duck. I've heard rumors about this. We gotta get out of here. No, we have no idea. There were still no answers provided. Scientists currently believe that it came from a giant squid, which is way more terrifying than a duck. And it's also somehow more alarming than the ocean floor cracking open. For me, I don't know. Cracking open, kraken, crack, oh shit. Number 6, sounds of Mariana's Trench. Okay, hold your breath for this next one, folks, and turn the volume up. Why not? The Challenger Deep is the deepest known point on Earth's seabed. My ears are popping just thinking about this already. This is a nightmare. The Challenger Deep is, of course, located at the south side of the Mariana's Trench in the Pacific. Now, you may not witness this depression up close at any point in your life, but thanks to the internet, now you can hear it. Scientists recorded around 23 days of material on the ocean floor. And it's not just bubbles, it's more trouble. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on down there. Only 4 manned missions have ever been this deep, the last one being 2012. Now the results here were pretty surprising, being as deep as they were. The sounds were honestly haunting. Oceanographer Robert Ziak was leading this project, and many of these sounds recorded were those from the surface. Which is a weird thing to say, but hear me out. Sound travels quite a ways, and to quote Ziak, the ambient sound field is dominated by the sound of earthquakes, both near and far, as well as distant moans of baleen whales and the clamor of a Category 4 typhoon that just happened to pass overhead. So yeah, it's a lot happening at once. Take a listen. Number 5, hidden ocean heat. If you put your ear up to a seashell, if you listen closely, apparently you can hear global warming. Yeah. I'm not kidding, how depressing is this one? Back in 1991, scientists lowered these massive speakers, like these nightclub subwoofers, into the waters at Heard Island. Really? Okay, I see what you guys did there. These speakers emitted low-frequency sounds all across our oceans. These signals were later picked up by receivers near California and Bermuda. And these signals contained information on the temperatures of our oceans. Our oceans absorb more than 90% of energy left over from global warming. There were a few scientists who at the time were also concerned about how these low-frequency sounds may be affecting ocean life. Yeah, what does that sound like to a beluga whale? Not great, I assume. Finally, number 1, the buzzer. No, I'm not talking about Kawhi Leonard when he, we're still thinking about it. That's a good one. This one legit gives me goosebumps. That's why I'm gonna end the video off. We're jumping out of the sea for this one, so lose those goggles. In the 1980s, when a radio tower just north of Moscow began transmitting these random and creepy sounding beeps and bloops, come 1992, these sounds began to change. That year, it suddenly switched to a buzzing sound, short and sweet, around 25 times a minute. These strange routines would be interrupted once every few weeks by a male voice, which would then be reciting a string of numbers and words, like he was trying to reset the Winter Soldier or something like that. And to make things more creepy here, in June of 2010, and also in August of the same year, the station briefly stopped sending out signals altogether. Maybe they ran out of battery, I don't know, maybe they needed a lozenge break, some lemon tea. All that talking that entire time, that's gotta damage the vocals. At the end of August in 2010, the station again changed and there began to be different shuffling sounds and thuds that can now be heard in the background. And often these little snippets of the dance of little swans from Swan Lake would also be interrupted into the broadcast. Yeah, if any secret agents are listening to this, I want in. Whatever operation this is going on in the ocean, in a submarine, send me Swan Lake Mission Impossible briefings. Knock twice, I'll do a pirouette. Let's do it. A pirouette kicks some bad guy's head off. Easy. Kicking off the list at number 10, the Bell Island boom. Back in 1978, Bell Island, located just northwest of Newfoundland, a loud boom was heard. It was powerful enough to shake houses. This thing caused property damage, right? It's pretty intense. There's a pretty large group of individuals that believe this was some sort of supernatural phenomena of some sorts, of course. On a Sunday night, right in the middle of Jig's dinner, this flash of lightning just shook the land. Darren Bickford, who was just 12 years old at the time, was riding his bike back home to catch his favorite TV show. Pre-Netflix problems, we love those. As I approached the end of our driveway, all the birds stopped chirping. All the dogs stopped barking. It just went so still. And then it was both. It was like a shotgun blast followed by a ball of light, and then followed immediately after the second ball. The ground shook underneath me. It was the biggest noise I've ever heard in my entire life. End quote. So what were these floating balls of lightning? Where did they come from? Well, many believe it was a super weapon test conducted by either the United States or the Soviet Union. Either way, if you visit Newfoundland, keep your head up. Getting screeched in should probably help either way. Number 7, mist poofers. There's a fun name, mist poofers. Sounds like a royal way of farting. Excuse me while I mist poofer. It's not a royal toot, sadly, it's actually much worse. Mist poofers are a series of loud booms heard near the waters all over the Netherlands. It's been reported as this loud crack, like thunder or a large canyon splitting in half. The might of Thor just being unleashed in the Netherlands, perhaps? Is Odin back? It sounds like he's back. I don't know, should we go check it out? It's often heard in the Bay of Fundy up here in Canada, but reports have come in as far as Japan, Ireland, really all around the world. Have you ever heard a mist poofer? Are the oceans cracking open? Or has Voldemort returned and now he's sent his army of mist poofers? Are we doomed? We're doomed. Number 5, the Kraken. Jack Sparrow's worst nightmare. Is it real? Is the Kraken actually a real thing? Where does this come from? Well, maybe. The giant squid is not that far-fetched. Some creatures in the ocean are massive as is, like for example, this manta ray off the coast of Trinidad. If the internet didn't exist and I saw this in real life, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So of course, many sailors reported seeing the Kraken at one point or another. The ocean's terrifying. For ages now, sailors specifically from Norway and Greenland have all continued to share eyewitness reports of a giant sea monster, the Kraken. Apparently it had tentacles big enough to pull you and your mateys right off of the ship. In 1857, Danish naturalist Japetus Steenstrup found a large squid beak, and then soon after he was sent parts of another specimen from the Bahamas, so people were trying to help him out. So he concluded with all these gross puzzle pieces that the Kraken is real, and it's part of a species of giant squid called Architeuthis dux, which is Latin for ruling squid. Very little is known about giant squids, seeing as they're so hard to track, but we did get a photo of one back in 2005 and a video of one in 2013. Number 4, the whistle. If you can whistle, honestly, enjoy it. I've been trying for years, all I got is the one note. I'm like a bird. My lips are way too dry and weak, apparently. Nothing like this whistle, recorded in July 1997. This whistle was picked up by one hydrophone, meaning that scientists now can't pinpoint its location in the ocean, so we have no idea where it came from. But it was very loud, so we heard it. Somewhere in the Pacific, just, you know, somewhere out there. Good luck, just listen. That's terrifying. What do you think this is, really? The NOAA has compared the sound to volcanic activity, but because it could have come from literally anywhere, it could have been an iceberg, it could have been hydrothermal vents, it could have been the Kraken. Who knows? What do you think? Number 3, the green flash. I watch way too many superhero movies, so this next one had me pacing around my living room for a hot minute. Who is this? Who is this guy? Who's this green flash man? The green flash phenomena happens in the ocean. So far, we've only observed the flash above water, but I'm sure there's some mysterious happenings going on below, you know? I'm sure there's a few confused fish over there when it happens. This happens during sunset and sunrise. Best time to see the green flash is on a clear evening over water, and the air must be clean. So if you're in a polluted city, you're like, damn it. The reason we see a green flash is because of our boy, Roy G. Biv. This is the G in Roy G. Biv. Sunlight reflects off the atmosphere like a big old prism, and in turn, for thousands of years, humans have probably been like, what was that? I just saw a green flash. I keep seeing it every night. What is going on? They're probably so confused for thousands of years. No, it's not a Justice League villain. It's just the sunset. Number 2, HMS Daedalus. This 19th century warship belonged to the Royal Navy. It was this big class beauty equipped with 19 guns, and it launched at Woolwich Dockyard in 1844. It was a big deal. 4 years later, Captain McEway, along with his officers and crew, all set sail to St. Helena, but during their commute, they were visited. Yeah, this is why we have the guns on the side of the ship. If any trouble comes along, be it pirates, whatever the case, we're now equipped. Thing is, this visitor didn't come from the sides or the front or the back, it came from below, in the form of a 60-foot long serpent. And it hung around for 20 minutes, apparently, with its head breaking the surface of the water occasionally. The captain said it was so close under the ship that if it was one of his own crew members under there, he could have easily recognized their face. That's how clear the water was. It wasn't choppy or cloudy, it was a normal day otherwise. So do we think 60-foot long sea snakes exist? Who's to say? I mean, considering this list, I'd say yeah. We barely explored our own ocean.
Next on the list we have the lightning strike. This sound was recorded in 1984 by Henry Bass, Roy Arnold, and Anthony Ashley with a hydrophone in the Gulf of Mexico. And it's the sound of lightning striking the open water. Take a listen to this. That is just nuts. When I first heard it, I was immediately like, wait a minute, I know that sound. It sounds like a science fiction weapon, obviously, but more specifically, right. It's exactly like the photon torpedo from Star Trek. Really, really cool. Also kind of terrifying. Not only that though, but this is a pretty rare sound to catch. Lightning often hits on land. It strikes at the highest point, so the ocean isn't typically its main target. I don't really have much to say about this one. It's just a wild sound. Next up, we have the Submarine volcano. This recording was taken by scientists in 2004 with the use of a hydrophone. It's the sound of N.W. Rota, a submarine volcano, during an eruption. Take a listen to this. The Mariana volcanic arc is a bunch of underwater volcanoes found in the western Pacific Ocean north of Guam. There are at least 20 of these volcanoes just chilling beneath the surface. One of these volcanoes, called N.W. Rota 1, is submerged pretty deep with its peak about 517 meters down. And this is the sound of ash and lava fragments bursting forth from it. If I didn't know any better, I'd think this was the sound of a plane taking off, or the sounds of a subway train recorded with like an old MP3 player, but knowing this is a volcano erupting from deep under the ocean definitely makes it a lot scarier. Number 3, Julia. For a long time this sound was unidentified, but it's believed that it likely came from an iceberg. It doesn't make it any less haunting of a sound though. Captured by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, this unique and eerie sound recorded in the ocean puzzled scientists for a long time. When the NOAA placed hydrophones deep in the ocean, they unexpectedly picked up a low frequency sound resembling a haunting, almost ghostly kind of moan. So they referred to it as Julia, of course. I have a hunch one of these scientists had a bad breakup with a Julia at some point in their life or something. It's believed to be produced by the interaction of water and icebergs in certain conditions, but it's still not 100% certain. So want to hear what a submarine firing a torpedo sounds like? Come to the right place. This audio clip is of an American submarine firing a torpedo. You can hear the torpedo launch, followed by the outer hatch closing, and then there's this long kind of silence as the torpedo makes its way to its target before you hear this massive sized, crunchy explosion. It's pretty cool. Take a listen. Definitely not as spooky and eerie as many of the sounds on this list, but I just can't help but imagine how terrifying it would be having a freaking torpedo launched at you. So it's scary enough for that reason. And finally, at our number one spot, we have the upsweep. Now, a lot of you have probably heard this one, but my God, is this ever unnerving. Of all the sounds on the list, this is the one that creeps me out the most, and a lot of that is due to the fact that the source of this sound is still unknown. It's on the NOAA's list unidentified sounds. The upsweep sound was picked up by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, baby, in the Pacific Ocean. It was first heard in 1991 and is made up of a series of high-pitched sounds that get higher and higher, like something going up in pitch. And again, nobody knows for sure where the sound is coming from or what is causing it. Scientists have been trying to figure it out, but they haven't been able to come up with a definitive answer. And some people think it could be caused by movements in the Earth's crust or underwater volcanoes, but many also think it could be the sounds of unknown sea creatures. One day, hopefully, we will find out for sure.
This one creeps me out a lot. I think I've heard the hum before. I don't know. Maybe it was Kid Cudi in the distance. Maybe it was this hum. Either way, I'm on board. The hum has been heard for decades now. We have no idea where the hum is coming from. Our best guess is that it has something to do with, of course, as the title hints, the ocean. A resident from Woodland, England spoke out on their experience saying, "It vibrates through the house. We've turned all the electricity off in the house and we can still hear it. So it's not that. It's not tinnitus, that's a high-pitched sound and this is very low. If I put my fingers in my ears, it stops, so I know it's not in my head." It's heard commonly in Hawaii, Britain, North America, so it's, hey, everywhere. It's been heard everywhere, I guess. Some have called it the Windsor hum, which is insanely close to us, hence why I think I've heard it in real life. I put the microphone to you now, people, the fine people of YouTube. Have you heard the hum? If so, where were you? Comment down below. Number 3, 2021 boom. A little bit more recent for this one. Back in early 2021, San Diego residents reacted to what sounded like a sonic boom. Well, it's been heard 3 times since the initial report, and many still have questions. I have questions. Now you have questions. Windows were shaking, doors were rattling, all of San Diego heard and felt this thing. But what was it? An earthquake? Being in San Diego and all residents are used to earthquakes, but this was entirely different. Everyone felt something new here. Also, it helps to know that no earthquakes were reported at this time, so that theory is just out of the way. And the Marines didn't take responsibility for it as well. And if it was a sonic boom from a plane, well, that would be pretty obvious. We'd kind of have an idea. We'd have a few ideas if it was a plane ripping overhead. Plus, they're not allowed to do that kind of stuff that close to the coast. December 28th, 2021, residents were posting their thoughts on Twitter. One user tweeted, "San Diego is cool because I'm like, oh wow, just felt an earthquake, but not actually, it was a sonic boom." Well, keep an ear out for any more mysterious sonic booms coming from the ocean in 2022. The last one wasn't long ago at all. If you live in San Diego, drop us a comment, help us understand what's going on. Number 2, the train. This sound was given its name because, well, it sounds like a passing train in the distance. Simple as that. Sometimes it's not, scientific. It was first recorded on March 5th, 1997, and it sounds, honestly, it sounds like my PS4. It sounds really loud. It sounds like a really loud, really hot fan that's gonna just lift up and take off in the middle of playing Warzone. I'm like, hi, no, come back. Here's the clip. The leading theory as to what's making the sound is not a surprising one. Large icebergs grounding near Ross Sea and Cape Adare. Again, that's probably the most plausible explanation here. Friendly reminder that more than 80% of the ocean is undiscovered, so my only question is, what if it's not? Number 6, upsweep. Unidentified yet again. Love to hear it, literally. Sound travels much faster underwater than it does in air, more than 4 times as fast. So when we hear these noises, one, they're incredibly loud, which is the most impressive part in my opinion, but because sound travels so quickly, it's hard to find out where these calls are coming from. Upsweep is an unidentified sound that was heard throughout the entire Pacific Ocean. When the Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory fired up its sound surveillance system back in August 1991, these sounds were heard. See, unlike the sounds we've covered so far, this one happens in real time. It's not sped up because it's 17 minutes long, it's just, that's it, that's what it sounded like. These upsweeping sounds lasting a few seconds each ping is definitely concerning. The source was roughly located around New Zealand and South America, somewhere around those places, and it peaks around autumn and spring. So maybe it's just a monster tucking itself in for the winter, and then maybe it's waking back up in spring. Who knows? Scientists at the NOAA have a better idea so far. A little boring, but they believe it's underwater volcanic activity. I say boring, it's not really boring, it's just predictable, I guess. This sound has been getting lower pitched every year, so who knows? Maybe that's a bad thing, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe this thing's gonna go off. Maybe it's gonna go off tomorrow. That was 30 years ago, so any day.
In our number 4 spot today, we have knock. Okay, this is one that I'll admit was not captured by a submarine, but it was still underwater and it truly is terrifying. A few years ago, a beluga whale named Knock, who was unfortunately in captivity, was recorded as he swam below the water. Beluga whales have been called the canaries of the sea, and for good reason, but Knock really wanted to up the ante and instead blessed us all with this sound. Knock had this uncanny ability to mimic the rhythm and tone of human voices, and it truly is kind of frightening. It of course is also a little sad, as part of this was probably because he spent most of his life being forced to listen to humans speak because he was being held in captivity. Before this recording of Knock, the voices of belugas and their sometimes human-like sounds have been talked about, but Knock was the first time it was recorded, and honestly, I kind of wish it hadn't been. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Bioduck. Since the 1960s, this sound has absolutely stumped researchers who heard it. This sound was basically what the name attributed to it would suggest. It sounded like some sort of mechanical duck. For decades, researchers would hear this sound and it would often be heard and recorded again in the spring and winters. After all of these years though, it seems as though the answers to this mysterious sound are finally coming to light. In 2013, researchers attached sensors that collect acoustic data to 2 whales. One of those tags recorded for 18 hours and the other for 8, and the whales they were attached to were traveling with other whales in groups of 5 to 40, and they were all eating basically the entire time. Throughout this time, with the tags on the whales, there were a total of 32 calls heard, and this data is what led researchers to finally understand where the Bioduck sound was coming from. As it turns out, this mysterious sound was actually the call of the minke whale. Researchers still aren't exactly clear as to what the call means to the whales, but it was a fantastic discovery that finally closed an almost 50-year-old scientific mystery. In our number 9 spot today, we have this marine chorus. Okay, so out of context, if I played you this sound, what would you think it is? Definitely not something underwater, right? Well, as it turns out, this sound was indeed captured under the water, and these are the sounds of fish calls. While I always expected the chorus of marine animals to sound a little more similar to the stylings of Sebastian the crab, apparently that isn't even close. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know that most fish had calls, but it turns out that our human ears just can't perceive all of the hoots, moans, barks, and chirps that take place in the vast seas. This recording actually helped scientists realize that there are fish who sing together in a chorus every day at dusk and dawn. There have now been around 800 species of fish that have been identified and confirmed to make some form of noise, and apparently some fish even engage in shouting matches in noisier parts of the ocean, which is kind of hilarious to imagine. I guess on the list of creepy noises, this one is less creepy and more just informative. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Western Pacific biotwang. In 2014, researchers and scientists heard weird sounds coming from the Mariana Trench, which, for the record, seems like the worst place for there to be strange noises coming from. For years, experts couldn't pin down this sound, and it was dubbed the Western Pacific biotwang, and while there is now a theory that was proposed by researchers from Oregon State University, they have also said that they might be entirely wrong. First, for reference, here's a little clip of the sound I'm talking about. Okay, so if you're like me, my mind immediately went to something alien related or some sort of creature that perhaps we haven't yet discovered. I mean, this is the Mariana Trench we're talking about. The theory put forward by the Oregon State researchers was that perhaps this may be a new type of baleen whale call. Okay, that's probably the best of all of the options, but I really don't like when someone tells me the answer to a scientific mystery only to tell me that that might not actually be the answer at all. While the low part of the sound would make sense to attribute to the baleen whale, it's the end high-pitched twangy part that would be incredibly unique. The wide range of frequencies in the sound are what continues to baffle those who are trying to find the source of this mysterious sound. In our number 5 spot today we have Star Wars. Okay, you might be wondering why something relating to Star Wars is on this list since we are talking about the sea, but just listen to the sound and then tell me what you think. That sounds kinda like little fighter jets or something, right? Well, it definitely had some people stumped for a while when it was first heard, but luckily this one has a fairly simple and harmless explanation. The Star Wars sound is actually coming from dwarf minke whales. Apparently a lot of strange ocean noises end up either being attributed to whales or icebergs. Considering how creepy this sound can be when they have no explanation, I'm kind of glad to know that most things end up being relatively harmless and way less scary in reality. In our number 4 spot today we have the Atlantic cod. Atlantic cod are known for their ability to produce clicks, growls, and thumps as their way of communicating. The clicks I'm about to show you are apparently intended to ward off potential predators, including humans, and I truly feel like it might be working. While this sound was recorded on a hydrophone, it's been said that divers who have encountered these fish in the ocean have also been able to hear these warning clicks so as to let them know not to get close. These fish also of course have different less aggressive sounds as well that they use for things like mating season or to be able to warn others of their kind of potential dangers that are lurking in the icy waters. In our number 3 spot today we have the ping. This is a sound that no one has been able to figure out where it is coming from. I'll admit this one wasn't captured by a submarine, but I had to include it because it is coming from the water and it is so mysterious that scientists and even the military still aren't sure what exactly is going on here. This sound can be heard in the Kikatalik region of the Canadian territory Nunavut and is coming from the Fury and Hecla Strait. This sound has been described by some as a ping and by others as a hum, but the main issue is that this area is a hunting area and whatever the sound is, it is scaring off all of the wildlife. Because of the reports of this mysterious sound, even the military came to investigate, but still, no one is exactly sure where this sound could have been coming from or what it could be linked to. For now, the mysteries that lay below the Arctic ice are destined to remain a secret. In our number 2 spot today we have This sound is one that was captured on a hydrophone and it truly sounds like someone just trying to add some inflection to their voice to ask a question. I'll give you 1 second to take a guess first. Did you guess another whale? Well, you'd be right then. This sound is coming from the North Atlantic right whale and is not just the sound of a super confused person. These whales are one of the world's endangered large whale species, with there being only 400 left in the Atlantic Ocean. The sound you just heard is the sound they use to communicate with others of their species. Their sounds are usually low frequency moans or groans, and they are used to indicate things like warnings, contact, aggression, or just other social signals in general.